Neil Young has given Spotify an ultimatum. His music or Joe Rogan? Hey guys, how's life and welcome back to the channel. Now before we do get into today's video, if you could smash subscribe, it's absolutely free. If you've been enjoying the content, if you've been watching the content, it really does help me out. If you could smash a like as well, that's absolutely free. Let me know all your opinions in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. But enough waffle, let's get into today's video. So overnight, Neil Young has issued a bit of a weird statement. Now most of you might not know who Neil Young is. He's an artist from back in the day. Had quite a few bangers, to be fair to him. I would expect most young people probably don't know who he is, or maybe just recognize the name. Now, he has issued a statement saying to Spotify, Neil Young has been triggered by some things that Joe Rogan has been saying about the vaccine. Obviously, it's been a very opinionated subject and quite controversial since the vaccines have come in. He's not happy with the way that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation. He's quoted as saying that Joe Rogan has been spreading misinformation about the vaccines and he doesn't want his music on a platform that supports Joe Rogan. Now, Spotify are never going to drop Joe Rogan unless something hugely controversial comes out. But Joe Rogan signed exclusively to Spotify in a £100 million deal. And if they're going to choose between Joe Rogan and Neil Young, who's probably what 500-600th on Spotify in terms of hits that he gets at the moment, they're going to drop Neil Young, aren't they? However, this brings up an interesting topic in terms of what people should be allowed to say. Like, Joe Rogan's obviously got a massive platform. He must have millions of viewers monthly. He's a grinder as well. He'll do so many podcasts with sort of a real variety of people. And Neil Young is accusing him of spreading misinformation on COVID and vaccines. Now, yes, some of the stuff he has said is obviously controversial and could be completely false. Obviously, every big media company, every personality, everyone with a podcast is going to have their own opinion and own agenda on things. I believe that Joe Rogan is one of the most modern and sort of open shows that you can go on. Joe Rogan just doesn't get one opinion and one type of person and just go, if you don't agree with me, don't come on the podcast. That's not Joe Rogan's style. He wants to speak to as many people about as many different subjects as possible. But the issue this creates, that Joe Rogan could speak to one doctor and they say one thing on the vaccines, and they speak to another doctor and they say another thing, and this can confuse viewers. Joe Rogan himself isn't the doctor. He's just sort of exploring options and exploring what works for him, and he's always learning, forever learning. What I quite admire about Joe, he's not afraid to admit he's wrong. He's not afraid to learn a different opinion. Since COVID, he has sort of been almost cancelled online. And for someone who's done over 2,000 podcasts and he's a comedian as well, he's going to joke and talk about controversial subjects. Probably done well that he's only hit the headlines for negative reasons a few times, to be honest. Now, this Neil Young problem isn't really a problem for Spotify. Like I said, they're not really worried. But imagine if a big artist done this. Imagine if a Drake come out and said, go exclusively to Apple Music because you're supporting Joe Rogan. What happens then? When there's a lot of money involved, companies have got to start making decisions. But there's also an element of free speech, isn't there? Shouldn't anybody be able to explore a subject? And also ask the question, is an influencer responsible for the sort of information that they put out? Would Joe Rogan, for example, be responsible if one of his viewers went out, tried some of the medicine, let's say a doctor was recommending, and they died or something, they got ill? I believe everyone should just be entitled to their own opinion. There is an element of someone who's got a massive platform such as Joe Rogan does. He should not be going on there and deliberately spreading lies. But that's not necessarily what the podcast is about. We shouldn't be listening to Joe Rogan for our medical advice for everything. I think the problem is people don't normally do their own research. So let's say you're an avid Joe Rogan fan, you listen to him, that's your only news source. If he says you need to go take these tablets and he gets loads of doctors supporting that point, naturally you're going to be thinking, well, if he's taking it and he's got better, then you're almost going to go out and take his word for it. But before taking any type of medicine, any type of pill, trying any type of diet, you should do your own research on it. What we're going to do, we're going to stop people talking about it. Even big news outlets will have their own agenda depending on what sort of political party which they want to aim towards. So if you just listen to CNN or just watch BBC News all day, some are more balanced than others, but there's always going to be one view somewhere where they want to try and direct viewers. It's a real tough question. Luckily, Spotify will probably make an easy decision. Neil Young is pretty irrelevant in terms of today's news. To first completely want to cut themselves off from Spotify for supporting Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan on his podcast in April said the following: I'm not a doctor, I'm a fucking moron. I'm a cage fighting commentator who's a dirty stand-up comedian. I am not a respectable source of information even for me, but I at least try to be honest about what I'm saying. Spotify can't really take him down or stop him talking about stuff because it's just one man's opinion. He's had ridiculous guests on. He's had the highest celebrities in the world. He's had CEOs, but he's also just had sort of other comedians, people who probably got 5,000 followers. He's had everyone on that podcast. For me, I don't think we should cancel Joe Rogan or we should stop it. Obviously, if the podcast is spreading misinformation, people need to be informed about that, and then they can again make their own opinions on whether they want to continue watching, making sure in future just take stuff with a pinch of salt. It's interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys. If you have watched this far, if you could smash subscribe, it's absolutely free. It really helps me out. We have lots and lots of content like this one coming to you. All the drama online, anything that happens on the internet, I'll be updating you guys. So if you could smash subscribe, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.